So mark rounding is one of the most important places in a race to make or break it, besides the start. And it's the biggest place during a race where you can gain or lose the most. So a better, more clear understanding of the rules will help you come out on top. Alright, so the objective of this lesson is to understand mark rounding rules and how to apply them in race situations. Okay. So we're going to start off with an introduction and go through the rules, and then we're going to run through some situations and do some examples. So Rule 18.1 explains when mark rounding applies. So mark rounding applies when you come within 3 boat lengths of a mark. So you can see on the whiteboard. So when you're coming towards the mark rounding rules apply as soon as you enter the zone. And then, so when you're sailing in, you're going to come in, and then they stop as soon as the stern of the boat is clear of the mark. So then they stop the mark. And they also, so they do not apply when boats are on opposite tacks on the beach or the windward. Boats on opposite tack in the proper course at the mark is for one boat, but not for another boat. Between a boat leaving a mark and one approaching it, and if the mark is a continuing obstruction. And obstructions are covered under Rule 19. So giving mark room. Now a boat is 18.2. So giving mark room is required when boats are overlapped. The outside boat gives way to the inside boat, always. Unless boats are overlapped when the first one of them reaches the zone, the boat on the outside must give way to the boat on the inside. So if they're overlapped, like once they reach the zone, or before they reach the zone. Now if they're overlapped when they reach the zone, the 3 boat length zone, and then the overlap breaks, then the outside boat still has to give right away to the inside boat. Now, if there's a reasonable doubt that a boat is obtained or broken overlap in time, then it is always presumed that the boat did not. Now, if a boat gains inside overlap from the clear stern and the outside boat is unable to give mark room, it is not entitled to give it. Okay, and the other important rule, 18.3, is tacking at the mark. So if 2 boats are approaching a mark on opposite tacks and one of them changes tack, and as a result is subject to Rule 13. Now, Rule 13, if you remember, is you must steer clear of other boats until you return to a boat course. So while tacking, when you don't have sail power, you have to steer clear of every other boat. So if 2 boats are approaching a mark on opposite tacks and one of them changes tack, while the other boat is touching the mark, that touching the mark is in they didn't make the lay line, so they're just trying to grab it. So touching the mark is in this boat. They didn't make the lay line, and so there's another boat here. So this boat, instead of tacking back and coming around, they're just going to they're losing boat speed, so they're going to try and push the other boat up to the line. So the boat that changed tack must not cause the other boat to sail above the boat's call to avoid or to prevent passing this mark on the required side. So the boat that's touching the line can't push the boat above what they require to make the line. And they need to give room to the other boat if it becomes overlapping beside them. Now the other rule is jibing to the mark. So when an inside overlap right-of-way boat must jibe at a mark to sail a proper course, as in the course of the boat with the sails finished fastest, no other boats were present. Until she jibes, she shall sail no further from the mark than needed to sail that course. So if you are the boat on the inside, and there's a boat, if you're approaching a mark, if you're approaching a mark, and you're the boat on the inside, and there's another boat here, you can't purposely delay it with this. And then Rule 18.5 is exoneration. So when a boat is taking mark room to which he is entitled, she shall be exonerated. If, as a result of taking mark room to which she is entitled, she breaks Rule Section A, which is the basic right-of-way rules, or if by rounding the mark on her proper course she breaks the rule of Section A, or Rule 15 or 16. And Rule 15 or 16 are acquiring right-of-way and changing course. So basically, for exoneration, it's, as long as you make sure that you're giving right-of-way to the boats properly. And if you don't give right-of-way, then you're giving your proper penalties, and that way you don't have to forfeit like a lot after the race. Okay, so now we're going to run through some situations with the rules so that you guys can understand them better. This is open to discussion. So, okay, example 1 is sailing downwind. So we're going to have 2 boats. Okay, so which boat, which boat do you think would have right-of-way?
The boat on the right.
Yeah, the inside boat. Now, okay. Now these 2 boats they're both on a port tack, neither of them are starboard, so on the same tack. So Rule 11 says that the windward boat, so the boat closer to the wind, should have right-of-way. But Rule 18, the mark rounding rule, says the outside boat must give room to the inside boat. Now, since these 2 rules are in conflict, then Rule 18 always presides. So mark rounding rules always preside over other rules. However, they only exist when you're inside, around the mark, the 3 boat limit. Okay. Yeah, that's another example. Okay, now of these 2 boats, which boat do you would have right-of-way?
Green.
Yes. So Rule 18 applies when boats are about to round or pass the mark, even if they're on opposite tacks. So see, these boats are on opposite tacks, and this boat is on starboard tack, this boat is on port. But since they're not on a beat upwind and they're both going downwind and neither of them have to tack to pass it, then the inside boat has right-of-way as soon as they're in the zone. So this rule presides over the basic right-of-way rule. Okay. So we'll do another example. If that's fine. Okay. So for this example, you see there's 2 boats on the same tack rounding a mark, and there's an overlap established. Okay. So which boat do you think that right-of-way?
Green.
Yeah. So you see this green boat, because it has an overlap established before they're on the mark, the red boat has to steer clear, so it can't try and cut inside. So green has the inside the whole way. Now, if there was no overlap established, so let's say red was really up. As soon as blue passes head to wind, so as soon as green tacks right here, when they're straight up in the wind, then they they go, red can go around,